With the release of Roland's new Fantom-06, I found myself asking the question, are workstations even still relevant? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Zach Marr from Alamo Music here in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. This is our Alamo Sound Lab channel where we talk about all things music tech related. And today we're talking about the Roland Fantom-06, part of the new Roland Fantom O line. And I am a little confused. I don't know if you're confused because there's also the Fantom line and there's the FA-06, 07, 08. And the naming, maybe it's just me, but the naming of all these models kind of gets jumbled up in my mind. But to simplify it, this is basically the skinned down version of their flagship Fantom series. I think that came out in 2019, kind of like the Yamaha Montage and then the MODXs. This is the new scaled down version of their Fantom flagship kind of workstation. And every time I see a new workstation come to the market, I find myself asking the question, are workstations still relevant? They are not exactly, it's a trend that's been going on for, I would say, probably over 20 years, where manufacturers created these flagship instruments that had a little bit of everything in them. And I think as DAWs got more powerful, as controllers got more tactile and became better instruments, and as computers got faster, the place of the workstation became less and less relevant. People could get better or more customizable setups without having to get tethered in or tied into a all-in-one unit and spend that kind of money. So I think what made workstations so powerful and great at one time, really it's become that value proposition isn't as strong anymore. So the question is, are workstations still valuable? Do they still have a place in the market? And I think the answer is yes. I don't think manufacturers would continue to make these if they didn't. And I think they're actually helpful. And when I think back on my own journey with keyboards, I think about one of my earliest synths, quote unquote, was a workstation. It was a Juno G. And I think we did a video reviewing the old Juno G. And really, what it did for me was it gave me a lot of entry points into various parts of music production. And I still think it's kind of like in the guitar world, guitar pedals. You can get cheap, under $300, sometimes under $100, multi-effects pedals that you can get you can get thousands of sounds out of it. You can get 10 different distortions, a whole bunch of different delays, every parameter tweakable under the sun. And as an early guitarist, that's actually kind of helpful, because before you go and spend $300 on a boutique kind of delay pedal or a boutique distortion pedal, where it's got 5 knobs, only a limit, like, you don't really appreciate and understand what you're looking for until you experience a little bit of everything. And I think the workstation today is really a good option for folks that want to experience a little bit of everything and they're not sure what they're looking for. And it's interesting how workstations have changed. You get, the sampling pads and kind of playback pads that are in the Fantom series. You go back to the Juno G, which is an earlier version of the workstation. You didn't really have, like, that element of being a music producer was not as there was the ability, I think, to sample on those early units, but this having pads that playback sounds and being able to program the pads and different sequences and whatnot, that was not as kind of a staple in production as it is today. And so it's interesting how this workstation gives you, it gives you a synth engine, it gives you a bunch of rompler sounds, it gives you a bunch of effects, it gives you a sampler and pads to play back different sequences, and really is a pretty powerful unit. And is it ideal for any of these one niche kind of parts of production? You can find a better synthesizer, you can find a better sampler, you can find a better keyboard, you can find a better rompler, but this brings it down into a price point that allows a new producer or a new musician to really get a full experience of a little bit of everything in a specific flavor, the Roland flavor, just like there's the Yamaha flavor and the Korg flavor. And I think it's helpful. I think it's still useful. And so this is my case for a workstation today. Maybe I'm curious if manufacturers one day will stop making them all together because I don't know what the sell-through is in the market. But I think really this is really oriented for someone that doesn't know, kind of like a multi-effects pedal, doesn't know exactly what they want to do in music production, but they want to make sure they can do everything so they can decide what they're good at and they don't want to use a DAW necessarily. This is a good option. Is it the best sounding? Does it have the deepest feature set? No, but it's a great entry point into a lot of different things. So this is kind of I didn't have a ton of time to go deep into this, and we might make follow-up videos. It's not really our niche for making the deep videos. Maybe Chris will do it, maybe Ted. But I wanted to play a few sounds, give you a sense of what it sounds like. I went into kind of the vintage modeling because they did a good job of naming some of the presets. They had like a bunch of Jupiter 8, Jupiter 6, SH101, TV303 presets in here, and D50, and they're labeled really nicely. I don't think they sound particularly like any of the instruments, but it's kind of fun. You're like, oh, I'm curious. The JP6 was the one that surprised me the most because I haven't seen a lot of Jupiter 6 models are kind of patches and Roland gear. So it's cool to see them giving credit where credit is due on the 6. So let's take a listen. It's not going to be super. I'm just going to go through a few sounds and then we'll conclude with some final thoughts. So there you have the Fantom-06. Again, if you're confused by the name, so am I. But this is not an actual Fantom 6. It's an 06, and it's a lot less expensive. I think it's like $1,500. And you get quite a bit of stuff in this unit, and there's a lot of, we'll put the specs below so you can dig deep into it. It's got a lot of stuff from the actual Fantom series. Got a nice little screen. The action's not bad. Got nice layout for controls. It's fairly intuitive. And it really is like going to the buffet. You know you want a little bit of everything on your plate, and it's not fine dining, but you're going to get a pretty full meal for fairly cheap. So that's my 2 cents on Workstations, and specifically the Fantom-06. Cool unit. Let us know if you want us to make some follow-up videos. Be happy to do so. And if you have any other comments, leave them below. If you didn't hit subscribe, would appreciate it. Hit the like button if you liked the video. And we hope to see you here next time.